Alright, Mortal Kombat vs. Street Fighter has been a what-if conversation among fighting game fans for years, but do they necessarily have to be pegged against each other? Is it possible for characters of both franchises to coexist? Well, let's break down how Raiden, one of the most otherworldly and over-the-top Mortal Kombat characters, would fit, fight, and feel like a Capcom character. Okay, so Mortal Kombat has a lot of demons, gods, and titans in its lore. Street Fighter, on the other hand, has characters with demon and god-like powers. There's a difference. Because of that, the challenge of placing a Street Fighter character in Mortal Kombat would be kind of easy. However, the reverse would be way more difficult, but not impossible. So for starters, Raiden's godhood would need to be completely removed, in theory alone. There is a way to make him make sense in Street Fighter by allowing Raiden to retain most of his powers, but be an actual human being. Or mortal, shall we say. For instance, Raiden could be a legendary monk who trained in a secret sect, maybe a White Lotus Society, and he could master natural forces of the world, specifically a mastery of thunder and lightning. This could allow him the power of controlled bursts of electricity through really powerful strikes. It would keep him grounded within Street Fighter while retaining most of his MK powers and mysticism. Besides that, we can't act like it's too far-fetched for him to have lightning in the first place. I mean, Blanka exists. If we wanted to take this a step further, we could give Raiden his own elemental style of martial arts, creating a Japanese word for it, something like Tenraken or Tenraiken, which, if I'm not completely butchering that, will probably roughly translate to something like Heavenly Thunder Fist. If that doesn't say Raiden, I don't know what else does. All of this could tie in seamlessly if he were to monitor the World Warrior Tournament to try to stop Bison's exploits and counter the effects of Bison's influence of psycho power and dark energy on the world. It would only make sense that he would need to maintain balance. Makes sense so far, right? Now his look. Obviously his Mortal Kombat designs by and large would be a little too much for a Street Fighter design, with the exception of one. More on that in a moment. Raiden in Street Fighter should be slightly shorter, maybe around 6 feet or close to it. In no way should he be around Sagat or T-Hawk size. I think the vitals on Sagat has him listed over 7 feet. That's insane. But he should at least be taller than Ryu and Ken. Also, Raiden should not be a wide, overly muscular character either. However, he should be somewhat ripped given his lifelong training and dedication. So my mind is saying a half robe, maybe with some type of blue trim on it, nod to his MK2 look. Possible cloud pattern somewhere on his clothing, maybe even a storm cloud motif on his martial arts pants would be kinda good here. And in Street Fighter fashion, he should be barefoot. The other option in my mind is for him to either fight with his signature hat on, or he fights with it off and in his win sequence he puts the hat on. Maybe even potentially he's a rare Street Fighter character that fights with a large hat on, at least at that point in time, and during the battle he could have it knocked off of his head, sorta like Vega with his claws. In a nutshell, I would essentially be merging his Mortal Kombat 2 look with his Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance alternate. I can almost see his win quote now. Now for his moveset, which may not be as tricky as you would think. His playstyle might be insane for a Street Fighter game, however. For him to play something resembling a Mortal Kombat Raiden in Street Fighter, a lot of his moveset kind of already exists. His torpedo would essentially be a Psycho Crusher. I would venture to guess that his teleport would be the equivalent of an Akuma slide. The main things I would actually add to his character is some type of a key charge, considering the lore and story that I sort of hinted at earlier. Maybe holding down and pressing high punch, almost serving like Blanka's electric thunder, just instead of spamming a punch button, I guess. Also a quarter circle forward punch to be some type of spinning lightning anti-air. I don't know whether it needs to resemble a Shoryuken or a Tiger Uppercut, but something along those lines. Not sure if people would be happy about that last one, but hell, I'm taking liberties. For a stage design, a fictional Japanese temple with clouds above at sunset seems like something that would be accurate for like a Capcom Raiden. Maybe an artificial name like something along the lines of, I don't know, Mount Fujin. To me, an ancient stone fighting platform would look amazing in this environment. It also screams a stage that could fit in a Mortal Kombat game or a Street Fighter game, to be quite honest. Maybe adding lightning rods or some paper lanterns or banners or something that would add to the side-scrolling feel of a Capcom stage too. As for potential character rivals, aside from Bison of course, I imagine Ryu would be a friendly rival, especially on Ryu's quest to deal with the Dark Shado and find some type of balance in his martial arts. Raiden being some type of mystical aid as Ryu goes on his journey would kind of make sense to me, and considering guys like Gouken are no longer in his life. Blanka would be an interesting lightning rival, though it's possible that because of Blanka's current visual state, Raiden might kind of pity him. Another odd pairing that took a little bit of thought before I realized how golden it was, Dhalsim. He would kind of be perfect because of spiritual philosophies. Obviously they would respect each other, but a spiritual and physical battle between the two would be kind of fascinating. For a joke too, I think a rivalry with Guile would be kind of comical. Not that Guile is a joke character or anything, but the idea of a military captain encountering this lightning warrior, giving him cryptic messages about Shadaloo and Psycho Power would be very interesting. Also, in my mind, encounters between Raiden and Akuma would be kind of insane. Now, with all of the things I've laid out and taken into account here, could this Raiden exist in a Street Fighter? Does any part of this character seem like the original, or does this just seem like a similar equivalent? Who knows, maybe a certain female fan user or Chiromancer would be awesome in Street Fighter 2. Hell, maybe even Akuma would fit in Mortal Kombat. We'll see. Like, comment, and subscribe and let me know of any fighting game crossover characters that you think would be interesting. In any event, you all have a good one, and I'm out.
Get it on that. Select and make it first pick. Get it on that. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Get it on that. Choose and pick the best one. Get it on that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get it on that. Select and make it first pick. Get it on that. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Get it on that. Choose and pick the best one. Get it on that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.